Banky special.
Yeah.
Pure deliciousness.
Pure deliciousness, man. My name is Banky, man. Everybody calls me Banky. That's the name that I got from my grandmother when I was young. I'm coming out here after 30 years. Yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, you know, and I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts. Yeah, man, out of all the things that they had took from us, the one thing the dudes, you know, that tipped them over the edge, the straw that broke the camel's back was they said, you're not taking the wreck, you're not taking us being able to go outside and to move around the little bit of freedom that we had. Nah. And man, they set it off. They was not playing. The morning that everything was supposed to start, the control movement, that morning that it was supposed to start, the riot popped off. The riot popped off, man. I mean, you know, it was like they had let the first building out to go eat. And, you know, once they was finished and go back to their building, they was going to let the next building out and the next building and so on and so forth and so on and so forth. That didn't even get to that part because the first building that they let out was trying to go to the gym, was trying to go outside, was trying to, you know, go do what they usually do on any other day. But now this was the day that everything was supposed to start, the control movement. So they weren't going for it. They bucked. You know what I'm saying? They were telling them to go back to the building for it. So everybody else is still stuck in the building. We walking around in the park waiting for them to call us for to go eat, or we waiting to go to rec, or we waiting to go outside and ain't nobody moving. So dudes on the inside of the building is getting frustrated. Dudes that's already out, they telling them to go back so the other people can go eat. They frustrated. They said, we ain't going back. So, man, the next thing you know, somebody said something that wasn't supposed to be said to somebody who shouldn't have said it to, and bang, bang. And that just let all the frustration out. So dudes start fighting the police, and boom, boom, police getting assaulted. Dudes is fighting each other. And then, you know, it's just pure chaos. Then it gets back to the buildings. Dudes say, man, they out there fighting, man. They fighting the police. Everybody riding, everybody going off. And next thing you know, it's chaos. You know what I'm saying? Dudes in the block is starting to snap out and they starting to fight each other. Dudes that had beef with each other. Now I can get you. Ain't no police coming to save you. They jumping on dudes. Dudes is scared, is hiding, and they going and hiding in their cells and trying to get their door locked. The CO that's in the booth is scared. She don't know what doors are closed, what doors are open. Man, it was just pure chaos, man. Dudes started setting fires, grabbing the big trash cans, setting fires to the trash can, you know, setting fires to the pool tables. We had pool tables back then. That was the end of that, though. But we had pool tables, foosball tables. They setting fire to those. They busting the holes in the TV. It just was a madhouse, man. I mean, like, and I'm sitting here and I'm trying to process everything and I'm trying to, you know, be on point and woo. So, you know, I spoke about this before I went in the cell. You know, I covered all my stuff up, man. You know, all my valuables, my TV or whatever. So the smoke and all this soot and stuff won't get in it. You know, pack the little stuff, put them in my little jacket pocket. You know, put that everything on my bed and wrapped it up, and you know, cause dudes is flooding too. You know, you get everything off of the floor to make sure your stuff don't get wet and messed up and all of this. So you got to be prepared, man. You know, I get all of that done, then I got to go outside and stand in front of my cell so I can see everything to make sure, you know, what's going on. You never know. Somebody might want to hurt the bank. They might want to run in the cell, so I got to be on point. So when I go out there, I got stuff on me and, you know, my valuables or whatever. And, you know, I got that Bethlehem on me, but I never leave home without it, especially when all this foolishness going on. So I got that tucked, and I'm like, you know, anybody come to me and want to, you know, get busy, then come on with it. Because, man, it's just crazy, man. It's just, I mean, it was something that was insane to me. You know what I'm saying? It was just insanity. And I'm just looking at it. It's like if you in a movie, man, it's just like, I think about the movie, what is it was called, with Leonardo DiCaprio in it, man. I think it was called The Kings of New York, when you just got all these people just fighting and running around crazy and fires going on and violence going. That's how a riot be, you know. And then you had dudes that they started taking stuffing out of the mattress and stuff and trying to shove it in the booth and set it on fire. They wanted to set the booth on fire, you know. And the lady that was working in the booth, she's screaming and hollering and crying like, no, no. And she trying to keep the slot closed and push the stuff back out, and they push it in there, set on fire. She ended up leaving the booth. So she left the booth now. No doors can be opened that ain't already open. You got dudes in there, smoke everywhere. You can barely see in front of you. So you got dudes that's in there now that's panicking and going hysterical. You got other dudes that's trapped in their cell that don't know if they're going to, you know, get out because there's so much smoke they can't breathe. They want to get out. But it ain't even nobody to open the side door to get out of the block anyway. So then you could look out the window and see dudes now running around on the yard and putting scarves around their face so they can't be identified, and they fighting and they got weapons and sticks and Bethlehems in their hand. It's like, man, you know, what is going on? It's like you thinking in your mind like, hey, this is it right here. This is, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no telling what's going to happen, you know? So it's a crazy, chaotic scene, but all of that came from them giving, and taking. And dudes just got tired of them taking. You know what I'm saying? You done took everything there. What else you want? You know what I'm saying? They want your dreams. They want your hopes. They want your, you know, your thoughts. They want everything. You own nothing when you in prison. Nothing. You own nothing. Whatever you purchase is not even yours. It still belongs to the state. You belong to the state. So, man, that's a heavy pill to swallow, man, and most dudes can't swallow it, you know. And like I say, that riot was crazy, man. It went on. I told y'all about it, you know, how it was and how it ended. And, you know, it started that morning, didn't end until late, you know what I'm saying, early in the morning, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So it was crazy, man. And we ended up staying on lock for that for almost, I think, like a year, 11 months, 10 months. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to do. They was scared. They scared. They knew they had pushed too far. They was scared. So then they tried to punish you so hard that you would, you know, think about doing it again or think about ever trying it again. So, you know, they left us like that, man. We won't get no mail. Your mail won't come in, man. They was feeding us late. You know, they was feeding us all bag food, bag lunch, bag breakfast, bag dinner, you know, and all hours and hours late. Officers was quitting. They didn't have enough staff to work there. Won't nobody there to come to work. So you have to pay for that. If it ain't nobody there to feed you and you supposed to get breakfast at 6 in the morning, you may get breakfast at 12 noon because it ain't nobody there to make the food. Ain't nobody there to bring you the food. So, you know, it was chaos, man. It was pure chaos, man. But all because they gave you things and then they took it away from you. And dudes just won't go for that, man. But they try to punish you so severe to send you a subliminal message that we never gonna accept this again. Y'all cannot do this again. And that's why they made the penalty so harsh. You know, being locked up that long, man, not being able to go to commissary, not being able to go to a visit, not being able to use the phone. So people ain't know if you dead or alive. People calling up there and they telling them that they got institutional emergencies, so nobody is making calls right now. Visits are terminated right now, and all of this stuff, man. And you have no choice but to sit back there and to accept what's going on, because now once they got you isolated, where you locked in your cell and you don't have the, you know, the numbers of people this protesting, the numbers of people. Every protest now is solitary. It's just coming from you because you in your cell. Even if other people are in their cell, it's solitary because they got you isolated. They can deal with you one-on-one. And if they feel you talking too much where you may be influencing other people, then they're going to give you an inciting a riot charge and they're going to lock you up and ship you off the institution. You see what I'm saying? So, man, it's a dirty game, man. It's a dirty game being up in them prisons and being locked up and being subject to everything that you're going to be subject to. You're going to have to be able to have a strong mind, man, and a strong will to endure the things that you're going to have to go through while being incarcerated, man, because you never know what it might be. You never know when it's going to come, and you never know how long it's going to last. But you know that you have to stay ready so you don't have to get ready, you know. And all of these things was life teaching lessons for me during time, because I realized, you know, it was fortunate at the time for me that I used to keep a lot of commissary anyway, because I didn't, you know, I had the store box or whatnot, so I didn't like going back and forth to the store anyway. But people that did not have enough stuff to sustain them for a while, man, they was in there starving, man. I mean, starving, you know, really starving. You know, dudes was losing weight, man, because they weren't eating proper. They weren't eating enough. You only getting a bag lunch, a bag dinner, a bag breakfast. It might just be an orange or a half an orange and a bologna sandwich, a dry bologna sandwich with stale bread on it, and 2 or 3 little finger carrots and a little juice. That's it. And you might get that 3 times a day, and it ain't no telling what time you was gonna get it. So, man, you back there, just imagine it being able to, having to live under them conditions, and you weigh 250 pounds. You weigh 350. You know, you had dudes in there weigh 400. They can't go to commissary. They can't order no more food. This is the only food that you gonna get if you don't have no food left in your cell. This is it. Man, them dudes was going through it, man. It's like a near-death experience for them not to be able to eat, man. And this is all you got. And they bringing you this stuff around here, man, and that's it. You know, ain't no extras, ain't no inmates working where they can bring you some extra food. It's all COs. You dealing with all COs. They ain't bringing you nothing extra. They ain't giving you nothing extra. They don't even want to bring you what they bringing you. So, you know, you had chaos, man, and it went on for a long time. So everybody who was on Greensville during that time of that riot, they can tell you, man, they went through it. You know what I'm saying? And man, I was lucky. I had a lot of food. I tried to ration it out. You know, you had some dudes that was not knowing that it was gonna last as long as it did, and they had store boxes and a lot of food, and dudes started borrowing from them after weeks. And then once they were seeing that this thing was gonna be continuous and it won't go end, they stopped loaning out their stuff because they was gonna run out and won't gonna have anything for themselves. And then you had dudes that had cigarettes and had store boxes just who had cigarettes and coffee, which is a need in there. I mean, people live, die, and breathe coffee and cigarettes. And dudes was loaning that stuff out, and then once they realized that it wasn't no telling when we was gonna come off, they stopped doing that because it wasn't no telling when they was gonna be able to get paid. It wasn't no telling what the administration was gonna do, whether they was gonna ship everybody was gonna get transferred, and then you was gonna take a loss. So they stopped doing that. And the ones that did, they was loaning out stuff not 1 for 2 anymore, not 1 for 3. Dudes started loaning out stuff 1 for 5. Then it went for 1 for 10. I give you 1 pack of cigarettes, you owe me 10 packs of cigarettes back. So it was just crazy. And then dudes was like, what? You know, and then dudes is mad because they got to get some at that price. And then, you know, but they wanted and they needed so bad that they accepted. But just the audacity that someone would carry you like that because of the situation. Then when the doors do ever open, dudes want to kill you, man. They want your head for even, you know, taxing them like that. Or they bucket and they ready for war. You see what I'm saying? So dudes start realizing that even the dudes that had stuff and stopped even giving out stuff, stopped even loaning it out because they knew that it was going to be some problems when the time came for payday, or when the time came that they actually opened these doors and let us back out into population. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, it's just these times now, man, just thinking about them now, man, it's just like, it's just hard to believe, man, that I was in the midst of all of this craziness, all of this chaos, man. And I was, man, right smack dead in the middle of it, you know. And it's no escape. Is no getting out of it. Is nothing. You just have to wait it out. You have to tough it out. In the words of my man Yard, man, you have to tough it out, man. We got to tough it out. There's nothing that we can do. We have to tough it out. And you got to tough it out, man. And that's just that. That's what prison is, man. Prison is misery, chaos, confusion, and it is no way out until the people say, hey, okay, we're going to let you go. Other than that, man, you live in this type of lifestyle at any given moment. You know, any given moment, this can happen on any institution. It all depends on, you know, the environment that you in and how people going to carry it. If they fed up the day and they decide the day is gonna be the day that they're gonna set it off, then the only thing you can do is be prepared and be able to watch your back and take care of yourself and be ready for whatever. Because whatever just might happen. you know, and yeah, that all came because they wanted to control the movement. And guess what? When it was all said and done, they still controlled movement. They still implemented that control movement. And it stayed like that for the rest of the time that I was locked up. So they accomplished their goal. You know, they had millions of dollars worth of damage from what the dudes did to the institution. But hey, they accomplished their goal because that 11-month lockdown let dudes know that if you do it again, it might be 2 years, it might be 3 years. And that was enough to deter them because dudes do not want to be behind that cell. They do not want to be locked in that cell. That was the whole reason for them bucking on the control movement because they don't want to be locked behind the cell. So now I guess they rationalize like, well, you know, we're going to have to take what they give us because if not, this is where we're going to be at anyway. Crazy, man. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Nothing in prison is yours, man. Nothing. You own nothing, you know, and it just continued like that for the rest of the time that I was locked up, man. You have to learn that when you get, you know, in prison, that, you know, everything is going to be thought out for you. Everything is going to be taken away from you when they want to take it. Everything is going to be given to you what they want to give you. That's just the way it is in prison, period. You know, and it continued like that, man. They continue to take because it's just like a bully, man. Once they take something from you and they don't get enough pushback, then they always going to take more. They're going to take more. They're going to take more. And as time went on, that's how it went. They started taking more and more things from us. Once they realized that, you know, more or less you could be broken. You know, the dudes that was locked up before me in the 70s and the, you know, the 60s and all of that, them dudes won't go on for nothing. All the things that we were able to get, like clothes and the 13-inch TVs and, you know, TVs in the pod and, you know, all the different things, you know, a better commissary, all those things, man, dudes fought for, bled for, you know, caught more time for, you know, some died for. Dudes just started relinquishing it because they was not built like that no more. You know, they wasn't built to be staying behind themselves for years at a time, staying behind them doors for years at a time, not being able to come out, not being able to go to visits, not being able to use their phone. Some dudes is surrounded by being able to use the phone. You know, you got some dudes that call people all day long. That's how they cope with what they're going through. You got some people who cope with what they're going through by, you know, visitation. You know, you got people who cope with what they're going through by letters. So when you take all of those things away from us, then they can't cope. And those things in prison are considered a privilege. They are not a right. They do not have to give them to you. And they make that perfectly clear. We do not have to give you a visit. We do not have to give you phone calls. We do not have to give you, you know what I'm saying, letters or whatever. You know, and you would think that that's not true, but that's the way they say it is. So whatever they say is, that's what it is. You know, so, man, it was rough. It was rough, man. It was rough. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. It was rough. And it was even rougher for people that had less than what I had at the time. But that taught me a life lesson for the rest of the time that I was doing my bit. Never be caught, you know, unprepared. You know, always have what you need because you never know when them doors are going to close and when they're going to open back up. Every time you go in for a count, you do not know when the doors is going to open back up. If something jump off in another part of the prison or some type of catastrophe happens, then them doors ain't going to open. Like you used to them opening every morning for breakfast or lunch or what, it's not going to open. You know, so you just going to be stuck and have to deal with what you got to deal with. And a lot of people can't take that. They cannot take being behind that cell. You actually have people in prison that's actually claustrophobic. You know, and when them doors close, man, they in a state of anxiety. You know, and then they got to deal with that with another person in the cell with them. So it's misery for them. It's pure misery. So, you know, they can't take it. They break. You know, they break up under that type of pressure. You know, and I can remember years later, man, even years later, man, it did not stop, man. Like I say, they started building all these Supermax prisons, you know, and started putting people in there that was buck, you know, the Red Onions, the Wallace Ridges, and the King Mountains, and the River Norths. And it would send you all the way up there when you wouldn't comply or when you wouldn't feed into whatever it was that they was force feeding you. So they'll send you way up there, and then up there, those people was, it's not even about rehabilitation up there. It's about, dictatorship. It's about brutality. It's about, making you and breaking your will to do what they want you to do. And I don't care who you are, you're going to do it, or you're going to end up being, a victim. You're going to end up, your people going to end up getting a call one day and say, you ain't here no more because you try to attack an officer and all of a sudden they done beat you to death, or they had to defend themselves. But man, it's crazy, And then later on, I can remember when they came with the cigarettes, because cigarettes in prison, cigarettes, stamps, and coffee in prison has always been currency. That's money in prison. The more stamps you got, the more coffee you got, the more cigarettes you got. That's money. You can actually purchase things in prison with that, just like you could purchase things out here with money. That's your credit card. That's your currency in prison. Those things right there. So once you have those things, you can do a lot of things. And cigarettes was one of the main things. So then they come and start taking the cigarettes out of the prison. And when they started taking the cigarettes out of the prison, I just knew they was getting ready to have another riot. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't. You know what I'm saying? They complained, they argued, they, made a little noise, they made a little fuss, but they didn't riot. They didn't tear the prison up. And I think if they would have, they would have put the cigarettes back. But once they took them, man, it just changed a lot of things, man. It changed a lot of money flow in prison. It changed a lot of people's status in prison, and they gave you a certain amount of time. They said, well, now these cigarettes are contraband. If you get caught with cigarettes after a certain amount of time, then they're gone. If you have any, you need to smoke them up or send them home, because after such and such, and I think it might have been like 60 days, maybe 90 days, they gave you, that grace period. They stopped selling them in the commissary. They saying that they was banned now. You had this amount of time to get rid of. So, you had dudes then that was stockpiling cigarettes, holding cigarettes so they can try to sell them for an astronomical amount of price, to make money off of. But then still they had to hide them because the people was coming around looking for them after the deadline was up. You see what I'm saying? So it was a crazy thing, but cigarettes became one of the biggest commodities in prison before I left. You know what I'm saying? If you could get tobacco, if you could get cigarettes, you could make an astronomical amount of money. Man, before I left prison, they was selling cigarettes for $7, $8, some all the way up to $10 for a single cigarette. And it wasn't even actually a cigarette. If you could take one real cigarette and, get all of the tobacco out of it and make 5 little small roll-up cigarettes and sell each one of them for $7 or $8. And dudes was buying them like hotcakes. Because they couldn't kick this smoking habit. And if anybody who ever smoked cigarettes knows it's one of the hardest habits to kick. And those dudes couldn't kick it, so they paid for that. They paid for that, man. And that became a big business even for the officers. They was bringing in cigarettes and getting paid for it. A dude might bring in a pack of cigarettes and get $250 for a pack of cigarettes. So the amount of money and the value that they was putting on it was creating such a demand that even the most honest CO might even have to think about it, because he can be corrupted because of the money that he can make. And what's a pack of cigarettes? He can hide that anywhere and sneak it in and give it to you and get $250. So that was another dynamic, man. But that's just some things that they give you, and you will have them, and you will start to depend on them, or you will start to count on them, or you will start to rely on them as a given. And then the next thing you know, you got a habit of smoking, or you used to having this, or you used to having that. And then the people can change the rules the next day and come and take it all away from you. Now you can't have them no more. And there you stuck. And either you're going to rebel, or either you're going to buck, or either you're going to go with the flow. But it's not going to change what they're going to do, because they're going to do what they're going to do. Because they have control over you, and they have control over your life. And it's an ugly situation, man. It's an ugly situation to be forced to do something. You know what I'm saying? To be forced to do it. It's not a conscious thought in your mind that this is a decision that you are making. The decision is being made for you. So, that creates a lot of rage, man. It creates a lot of frustration. And 9 times out of 10, they get taken out on the person beside you instead of the person that's creating the frustration in you. Because they know that the price to pay is greater if you go at the people that is the source of your problem, the source of your pain, the source of your unhappiness. So you take it out on the person that you can, you know, and that causes more chaos, more violence in prison. More chaos and more violence in prison because dudes is unsatisfied or unhappy with their situation or what the administration is doing to them. So, you know, man, just thinking back on that stuff now, it was just crazy, man. I could see the rush for the cigarettes. Like dudes was running around selling cigarettes. Dudes had held tobacco and, you know, man, dudes would put tobacco in food, and dudes will put tobacco in the stuffed it in a mattress. Dudes then sold tobacco in clothes and everything, all waiting for the rush for when the people had finished shaking down and looking for all the tobacco that they could break it out and sell it at high market value and get, you know, triple the money, quadruple the money. You know, because in prison, man, everything comes hard. Everything is hard. Every dollar, every penny, every cent is hard got, man. You know, it's hard got, so the hustle is real in prison. The hustle is real and it's every day. And I used to always imagine, even when they took the coffee, you know, they took the TVs, they took the clothes, they made you cut your hair, they took the cigarettes. I used to always say, man, they took everything except for that coffee, man. If they take that coffee, because I know a lot of dudes, that's like I told y'all about, you know, my celly, the coffee monster. Man, there's tons of dudes in prison of all races, all creeds, all colors. Coffee is their main calmness. Coffee is their daily routine. Coffee is their life. And man, I'm telling you, if them people ever decide to take that coffee in prison, I think they're going to have a ride on their hands with the coffee, man. I think they're going to have a ride on their hands with that coffee because that coffee is something serious in prison. You know, they make probably more money off of the number one seller in the commissary in prison probably is noodles, oodles and noodles, ramen noodles, and coffee. I would be willing to bet those are the number one sellers. I can't say which one is number one, but I guarantee you those two are number one and two or either A and B. Because almost everybody eat noodles because you have no other choice. That is the cheapest and the most easiest thing to get. And coffee, man, a lot of people drink coffee. I didn't never drink coffee before I went to prison, but I started drinking coffee in prison. Almost everybody I know drank coffee in prison. Very few people don't drink coffee in prison. Very few. And a lot of people rely on that coffee for their calmness. Dudes don't drink coffee and they drink coffee every day, and then they can't get coffee. Man, they get migraine headaches. They get attitudes. They get mood shifts because that coffee becomes addicted. It becomes addictive, man. People are addicted to coffee in prison. So if they ever come and take that coffee, and the only reason I think they don't because it's such a money getter for them. But if they ever decide to take the coffee as well, man, they're going to have a ride on their hands, man. Them people going to tear that prison up for that coffee, man. I may be wrong, but I'm guessing I'm not. Because I say that is more people love coffee than it did with smokers, than it was cigarette smokers. You see what I'm saying? And like I say, more people feel like they need it than, you know, other people did for other reasons. So, yeah, man, that coffee is something terrible in there. But that's prison for you, man. That is the nature of prison, that you own nothing. You know, you own nothing. You know, so when you go in prison, you have to understand you're giving up everything. Everything. You know, everything. You are giving it up, man. And this is why I tell these stories. This is why I ask y'all to share these with the young people, because they need to know these things. They need to know these things while they out here in the free world before they give up their freedom, before they make some bad choices, before they make some mistakes. You need to have these things on their mind to let them think about how you're going to have to live. If I try this and don't get away, or if I get caught doing this, this is how you're going to have to live. This is how you're going to have to live. And you don't know when or how or when something may occur, but you can rest assured if you do enough time, you're going to experience all of these things. All of these things, man. So anyway, man, I just wanted to drop that on y'all, man. It's another one I wanted to drop on y'all, man, and let you know, you don't own nothing in prison, man. You will not own nothing in prison. And the only thing you can hope to do is to get out of them doors intact and with your brain intact as well as your physical. But I hope y'all enjoyed this video, man. I hope you like this video. Share this video. Leave a comment. Talk to me. You know, I talk back. You know, let me know if you want to hear any more about the things that we was denied in there, the things that was taken away from us. Any more about this video that you want to know about, man. Talk to me in the comments. And in the meantime, in between time, man, y'all be safe, be smart, make good decisions. I will be right back at you in a minute. Hold what you got. Y'all stay safe out there, man, and duck them hooks. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I'm getting back, baby. Peace.
The Banky special.
Yeah.
Pure deliciousness.
Pure deliciousness, man.
My name is Banky, man. Everybody calls me Banky. That's the name that I got from my grandmother when I was young. I'm coming out here after 30 years. Yeah, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have something because I'm rich in personality, you know, and I'm rich in love. My family love me, and that's really all that counts.